Hey everybody, DJ Sixsmith here. You're watching Sit Down. Allegra Edwards here with us. Upload the new show.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's good to talk to you. And you got a lot of good things going on these days. So obviously, life in quarantine isn't great, but the good news is plenty of time to watch stuff. So how's everything going on your end? What have you guys been watching recently?
That's true. I've got to say it's old news now, but my family and I have watched some Tiger King. Um, it's just true. It's ubiquitous, and
You
there's a
gotta do it.
reason
I mean,
for it.
there's no
You got to
choice.
do it. But one of the other nice things that I got to do while quarantining, I'm with my mom and dad actually in Massachusetts. That's where I am right now. One of the nice things is that I got to watch Briar Patch, at least the last like 5 or 6 episodes with my parents, which is something that I didn't think I was going to get to do. And so it's a TV show on USA Network, and it just finished a couple weeks ago. And to sit with my mom and dad and watch their reactions in real time was a treat. It was actually really special.
Why don't we talk about Briar Patch first? What was the best part of that experience? And, people know Rosario Dawson, her work, but what stuck out to you most about that experience?
Gosh, I would say for a first-time showrunner in Andy Greenwald, it was this great sweet spot of, oh my goodness, I can't wait to just try everything. And we're getting a real tiger, and we're getting Ed Asner, and we're getting Alan Cumming. Like, his excitement was so infectious. But then he was also really open to collaboration. And so for my first ever recurring role on television, it was such a gift because it meant that there was a spirit of joy, of gratitude, and of play. And that made it really easy to just step in and get to work.
Yeah, it wasn't somebody who was doing like their 10th or 20th or 30th show. It was like a brand new experience, and that coincides with your brand new experience as a recurring character. So what surprised you the most about that whole experience, just in terms of popping on each and every week, and even people, building up that following on social media, and just everything that comes with being a recurring character?
Yeah, I would say it was a treat to just read the scripts every week because while Briar Patch is based off a novel by Ross Thomas, Andy Greenwald really departed from the novel and kind of took it in new directions. And so when I auditioned, a couple years ago, I guess now, I looked for my character just to see what her role was like in the book. And she shows up a couple times, but she's pretty ancillary. So it was like I was getting every new script for every episode and going, okay, what am I going to do now? Because there's nothing outlined in the book. So the nice thing, and one of the biggest surprises, is that they were learning little pieces about me and what I enjoyed doing and what I like doing, which is a lot of improv. I love wearing weird costumes. I love being physical. And they started sort of sewing that into the scenes that I got to do. And it was like a scavenger hunt every time. It was great.
Well, I think that's the best thing a show can do, is that it can start with one thing, but then build on the strengths of somebody like you. And like the improv is a perfect example of that, because some people really hold on tightly and say, no, you got to stick to the script. This is what's up. But you're like, you know what, let's have some fun and play with it. So when did you first start massaging that improv skill, and what appeals the most to you about that?
Oh gosh, I first started doing improv in junior high. I
Wow.
mean, and I say like doing improv, and it was probably pretty basic. But we did have we had an improv club in 7th grade. And then I was in high school and we had an improv team. So it sort of, took it a leg up. And then when I went to college at Pepperdine, I joined the improv troupe. So we've gone from, level to level. But my teachers there were fantastic, and they have a lot of background in theater sports, comedy sports, and then also long form narrative improv, which is one of my favorites, where you take a genre that's well known, like Tennessee Williams or Shakespeare, and then you improvise a fully fleshed out play just on your feet with these other actors. And so it combines your literary knowledge with your ability to just keep going and form a character. And a lot of what I learned came from Improv theater and the teachers there in Los Angeles. Shout out to them. They're fantastic. And then, just a lot of, commercial auditioning. You got to do a lot of improv
Yep.
in commercial auditions too. So yeah, I've been doing it for a while, and I'm still learning every single gig, every role.
I mean, if you can improv Shakespeare, I feel like you can do anything. I mean, that must have been
Ooh,
insane.
I have so much respect for the people that can just, I have to pause
Mhm.
and really think when I'm doing Shakespeare. The musical version, though, like Stephen Sondheim musical improv is next level, because you're doing harmonies and then you're doing lyrics and you're doing choreography. I've only done that in like a classroom setting. I've never like performed Sondheim unscripted, but it's pretty impressive. It's really amazing.
Who are some of your favorite improvers when you think about, people you've studied or just even across the industry? Who do you like to watch?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, that's a great question. Tracy Burns is my mentor, and she's who I learned a lot from. Um, so Improv Theater also is the home of Edie Patterson, who you might recognize
Yeah.
from, from The Righteous Gemstones and Vice Principals, I think also. Brian Jones, I'm a big fan of him too. He does a lot of film and TV work in addition to teaching. Those are some people that I have interacted with and just admire. And then I mean, there are so many, like Kristen Wiig is just like the ability to sink into a character, Fred Armisen, where you don't even skip a beat and you're just watching them think and build bridges in their mind. I could watch that all day.
And just the ability to stretch and play all these different roles and nail them each and every time, especially with people like Kristen and Fred, like just some of the best.
Yeah, well, and it's also, improv doesn't just have to be funny. And I think that is a common misconception. I think really great improv is just grounded in truth and authenticity. And so when improvisers are able to go from genre to genre and just connect authentically with their scene partner, that means they're just living in the character and thinking like them.
So you go from Andy Greenwald and Briar Patch to Amazon Upload, Greg Daniels, who's obviously somebody known throughout the industry and done The Office and Parks and Rec. What was the most interesting part of that experience?
Oh my gosh, so many things. Man, it was wild, because that felt more like a cinematic experience, because there is a lot of technology in upload, in the world of upload. It's all in the future. It takes place in the year 2033. We've got a lot of phone calls that are happening in our hands here, FaceTime like this. How do you hang up? How do you answer? I'm a hologram at one point. I'm popping in and out of scenes, sort of like a disappearing, reappearing X-Men or something. So there was a lot of just green screen technology and visual effects that I had never encountered before and had no practice with. And we all just sort of jumped into the deep end. So that was really fun, but also a challenge.
Yeah, and it also makes you think like what life will look like in the future too, especially with like what technology is right now, like even doing a Zoom interview like this, and then like what it's going to be like, it's just endless what you can think about with that conversation.
Yeah, exactly. I really didn't think that I would be in this position. Like, for example, I'm listening to you, but I'm not making eye contact with you right now. I'm looking at the
straight
camera,
ahead as
which I'm
opposed to
sure
looking at you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder if in my daily interactions, I'm going to be looking at the top of people's heads instead of their eyes now, just to compensate. But yeah, it's true. I think it's a really timely show, because it does happen to deal with so many things that we're facing right now. My character is in a long distance relationship, and so they rely on FaceTime to talk. And I'm in a long distance relationship right now, and I think many people are, because they're staying where they're put. They're staying put. So yeah, it's been really surprising and cool to see the themes that pop up in the show and how they're mirrored in real life.
And for all those people who said long distance relationships don't work, they're experiencing it now, and they're realizing they have to work or else you're screwed, right?
Yeah, well, it's true. And I think it teaches you something. If you've never been in that position, it can actually, in some cases, I think it can strengthen the relationship, because you have to learn how to manage your schedule, how to prioritize the other person, how to build time in for them. And then when you're under stress, you learn different things about the people that you love, some some dark sides can come out.
Yeah, you see the real person in those
Yeah.
less than glamorous moments. Let's put it that way.
Exactly. It's
So
work, but it's worth it.
yeah, absolutely. So you've done a bunch of other things in addition to the shows we've talked about. What are some other things that stand out to you in terms of shows you popped on, people you've worked with? What comes to mind to you right now?
Oh my goodness. My first role on TV was technically John Glazer Loves Gear.
Hmm.
And but then my first speaking role was Modern Family. I was
Yeah.
one of the gals, a friend of Haley in I think like season 5 or something of Modern Family. And for that to be like my first speaking role on television was huge. I don't think I'd ever spent time on a sound stage before. I remember looking at the set and going, this whole time I thought they were shooting in a real house, but of course they're not shooting in a real house. They have to take away the walls. They have to put a camera through the roof. Like that was, it combined both theater and television for me all rolled into one. And I saw the magic, the behind the scenes stuff that makes me go, wow, this is all, practical what they have to do. It was also really fun to work on Friends from College, which is
Yeah, it's a good show. I like that show.
yeah, it's a fun show on Netflix, and I got to be a bridesmaid that was spray tanned orange. And for that role, we got to learn a bunch of choreography, really inappropriate choreography, and perform it at the wedding. And one of my memories from that was we were rehearsing this choreography that was supposed to be raunchy, like very inappropriate. And we're all practicing in the space, and there's somebody just watching. And I didn't even notice who it was at first until we were done. And it was Seth Rogen. And he had been hanging out. I don't think he was trying to be lascivious or, I mean, I don't want to,
No, he's
I think
just
he was
chilling.
just
He
kind of
happened to be
passive.
there.
Yeah, just chilling. Like he probably had to rehearse next, or, he just landed on set. And I'm going, I've done all of these weird things crawling on the floor in front of Seth Rogen, who I love and admire. And that was not my ideal handshake with him. So yeah, all kinds of fun memories pop up.
I mean, that's a great story to tell forever. It's a nice welcome to Hollywood movie, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is. I just don't want anybody to think that he was, trying to get a peeky peek. He was not. He was just chilling.
No, it was
just really good timing.
That's really
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, TV has changed a ton since you were on Modern Family, even Friends from College. What's it been like for you riding the wave of just all these different streaming platforms, Amazon, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big question among everybody across the board is, how do I watch this? What type of subscription do I need to have? And that's the fun thing, but also the tricky thing about Amazon Prime is that I think people are still getting used to the idea that all 10 episodes will be available at once.
Right.
They're going to drop immediately, and I think we have this outdated way of thinking that, okay, there's a premiere time, there's a premiere date, and then we have to watch at a certain time every night. And I think we created a very bingeable show. I think people will want to keep, next. That's my hope anyway. But it is funny that I'm still sort of reorienting my brain around the idea of not having a time slot or being on a prime time network. It's not prime time, it is Amazon Prime. So there's that. But yeah, that's been interesting, I think, especially for people, my parents' age, my aunts and uncles and grandparents that want to, okay, now how do I tune in? And
some people have just no idea how to find it.
Yeah.
The whole
Yeah,
conversation.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. How do I watch this? So, yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to checking this out. I'm sure a bunch of people are too. Allegra, thanks so much for jumping on, and be well, all right?
Thank you. You too. Stay safe.